Good evening to UK, England in particular, and good morning or good afternoon to other parts of the world. This is Edward James Tagg, and I channel Mother Mary, and I've been running PASI, which is Palladians and Sirians International, for a number of years, but also following my spiritual enlightenment and my contact with Mother Mary. So today I'm going to be talking about Queen Elizabeth II and her passing. You're going to see a lot of information and conspiracies and whatever come out of the woodwork as that just happens, So I just want to say a few quick words to anybody who's suffering, the Queen's family. I mean, to be honest, is it 96 years old? I even forget how old she is. It's a good innings, as they say in cricket parlance. You wouldn't want her to go on much longer. And I'm not going to talk about the medical ramifications or whether or not she was in good health or whatever or why. I'm just not here to do that. But anyway, I don't know if you know this, but I probably tell people that I've had about 7 very intimate, detailed dreams where I remember everything of actually having conversations with the Queen of England. I mean, really, really detailed, and I'll go into that much later. So what I just simply did, and also spoke to my spiritual teacher, who's a Palladian Christ, and I could go into that. It's a really, really long talk. I'll try and keep it real simple. And she told me, and she confirmed that yes, I was one of the Sirian guides to Mother Mary, to the Queen of England, and I'll explain that. It's very complicated. So anyway, today, what did I do? I just said to my angels, okay, I really want to know, because these dreams were just so powerful, and also I've had very, very powerful, detailed dreams with the students and mostly the teachers at Eton College. Is it near Harrow? Yeah, okay. I've got a friend who actually is from there, and she used to see them walking past all the time. So long story short, I do know that I work as a guide, being a Sirian and a Starseed. That's what we do. I mean, and Mother Mary just explained that to me. There's many millions of us here on Earth, and we live parallel lives. So on Earth, we have a physical body, and we have grey hair, and we age, and that's normal. But up there, when we're asleep or when we're in the astral, we're Starseeds or Sirians and Palladians, and we have dreams, and some of them are fictional, some of them are our worries, but some of them, when we're flying in particular or levitating, and they're very vivid and very colourful, and you wake up and it feels like it's real, that's because it really is real. So some Starseeds, I think it's about 0.01% of the population are either Palladians and Sirians, and they have this type of life. And I'll go into that in fine detail. I've been told by my spiritual teacher who channeled that I hold a record for the longest serving Earth guide from Sirius. So I won't go into that because it gets too complicated. I want to get back to the Queen of England. So anyway, just a heads up, the Queen of England is not a shape-shifting reptilian, David Icke. No, and there's been a lot of damage done. Well, for those that possibly believe it. But anyway, in my channeled material from my teacher, and I've got a whole folder full of it, which is Palladian automatic writing. I'm not going to get it out for word, but I can remember word for word. It basically said that bad press about the Queen is wicked. And long story short, what they're saying is that all the bad information claiming that the Queen is reptilian or shape-shifting or whatever you want to call it, that's all wicked or bad. And that's because David Icke, he's probably started that, and I'm sure there have been others that have followed, but David Icke himself is a reptilian. You can see his hands are twisted, and he's bitter and twisted, arthritis. And I'm not here to slant David Icke, but that's my opinion or my knowledge or my insight, that David Icke and all those people that call the Queen a reptilian are in fact themselves reptilians and involved in bad press, and they're wicked, according to my teacher and also my intuition. So getting back to basics. Right, so anyway, I used my book method. That was the third book on my shelf in that group, and then the 10th book in page 100 and whatever. And I just say, Mother Mary, is it true? Am I one of, or was I one of the Queen's Sirian Earth Guides? And it just, on the page it said, talk to me, many times, and the phone rang. So that, when she does that, she means she wants me to go outside, and I did that. And there was some ducks, and I've got lots of cute little baby ducks there. I just wanted to make sure they were safe. But I just started talking to Mother Mary, and she said, yes, Edward, it's very important to understand that when you're in your earthly body, having this type of experience, it's very very earthly and very hard to believe anything could possibly be credible. But when you're up there in the astral with your Sirian body, it's a totally different experience. You're literally an angel or a being that's lived 15 billion years. So it's a very different experience. So take that into consideration. And then what Mother Mary does is, telepathically, when she's talking to me, she likes to kind of warm up my voice. So when I'm really on a roll and she's talking a lot, and then she just injects really quickly. She said, and yes, Edward, all the dreams that you've had that feel very vivid, where you're flying or astral traveling, they're all real as well. And so therefore, yes, you have been one of the Queen's guides in the astral realm, and that's the precise reason of why I live here in New Zealand. So there's many people who would like me to go and visit them or spend time with them or even live in America or England, but I don't. I live in New Zealand for that reason, because most of my work is done in the astral. Anyway, I want to take it away from me. I want to talk about the Queen, obviously. So I'll talk about my dreams very briefly, and then I'll get into the ramifications of the royal family. So I had these dreams where I'm usually at Buckingham Palace, and I'm sitting next to her, and I'm holding her hand, and I'm whispering in her ear, and that's what guides do. They call, whisperers, or and whisper lots of loving encouragement. And what I witnessed in the Queen, I could go into it for ages, because I've had about 7 of these very long, detailed dreams, but there were a couple of things. Her maid, or I don't know if they call it lady in waiting, but anyway, her main helper or her maid had someone who passed and had to grieve and experience lots of loss. And I experienced that the Queen was really good at imparting compassion towards her maid that was grieving. She did that really well, and henceforth, or following, the Queen was also worried as well. And also the Queen was kind of worried about the back door at the Buckingham Palace, or wherever she was, because there were sort of brass or copper tabs when the door would lock, but they wouldn't connect properly to create an electrical seal, for the security alarm bell system, and kept on having maintenance people come in to fix or look at that. And then also there were these birds with long beaks and big, huge wings that would get caught in the window when she'd leave the window open. They were trying to get inside, and they'd be flapping around, and she'd be worried about them. And I don't know whether or not the Queen is a patron to some, royal waterfowl society in England or whatever, but I just felt that she was really concerned about the birds at the back of the palace or wherever she was. So I won't go into those dreams in any much detail. I'm just telling you a little bit, just to give you an idea that when I had these dreams, they were very detailed, very precise, and I was very loving and available to the Queen of England as one of her guides. And I'm not here to take away from the Queen or be in spiritual ego. That's just absolutely not my role here. But I feel it's my duty to tell some of the truth as much as I can. Just as much as what your takeaway should be is that the Queen was never a reptilian. She was a strong, powerful, very loving, fully in service Sirian Starseed, and she played that role to the best of her ability for as long as possible. Why did she pass then? Well, I suppose her body was just getting frail and elderly and ill and tired. That's my neighbour. Did she pass a little bit earlier because of what Andrew did and because of what Harry and Meghan did? Maybe a little bit, tiny bit. I'm not quite sure. I have a personal feeling, although I did not witness this in an astral dream, but I have a personal feeling, intuition, that what Andrew did and what Harry and Meghan did would have been tremendously stressful upon her, and deeply, deeply sad. And when she probably took those thoughts into her deathbed, that would be really, really emotionally traumatic. But I think the important thing you've got to say here is that when the Queen didn't want the flag to fly half-mast, when Princess Diana died and everybody was very, very angry at the Queen, the thing that the Queen always said, or what was said about the Queen, is that she wanted to put on a brave face. And that's the problem with being a royal, is that if they break down and cry and behave like, the Sopranos on TV, or just some other, soap opera like Coronation Street, then they can't put on a brave face for the public. And she did that, and that was her intention all the way to the end. So that's very important. If you think about Jesus or Mary in your mind, they are figures in our history because they were strong, and they put on a brave face, even when deeply inside they could be traumatized or deeply worried. But I can guarantee, that what Andrew did and what Harry and Meghan did would have strongly affected the Queen. I think it's possible that although she was getting elderly and sick or ill, and she went into, pulled away from public, for the last few or 6 months or whatever, probably I can imagine that the emotional trauma of Andrew's behaviour and Harry and Meghan would have caused her to need to recede that much further. And I'm not going to put that on the shoulders of Andrew or Harry and Meghan. That's not my intention, but I'll talk a little bit about that further. So just to recap and summarise, that's what I'm recapping here. The Queen was a very beautiful Sirian Starseed who chose to be in servitude to humanity. And see, here's the problem. I was not a royalist. I was, a Marxist. I read Das Kapital, the first chapter, by Karl Marx, and I was a lefty. And I've always been a soft lefty. I even still am now. But having said that, when I was influenced by my friends at Foyle Bookshop, I had a friend who was gay. He was a retired priest, and many left-wingers and philosophy and psychology classes. And my tutor was even, his father was even the Trotskyite newspaper editor. Anyway, I won't go on. So I've never been a royalist. But when I became a starseed, and when I worked with Mother Mary, and when I knew about Sirians and Pleiadians, I learned something a little bit different. And here's what I learnt, is that if you look at paintings of William Hogarth when people are sort of drunk on the streets of London, you read books by Charles Dickens, you realise that, England went through a real dark, history. And if we didn't have a royal model of how to behave, there'd just be rape and pillaging and Sodom and Gomorrah everywhere. You've got to have some kind of standards. So that's what the royal family do. Now, you could critique that sometimes they do a really bad job of it, and sometimes they do a good job. The Queen Mother was very good at doing a good job. Others have done a bad job. I won't mention too many names. So whether or not you agree on being a royalist or not, that's precisely what they do, is that you hope that some of the boxes they're going to tick is hopefully they're going to be a starseed, hopefully they're going to have lots of virtues, and hopefully they're going to put on a brave face even when they struggle and can't and don't want to. And they're going to model for society some sets of standards and virtues and morals. And I think that's why now I'm leaning towards agreeing with being a royalist. So now let's talk about her passing and other members of her family and those historic details of what's just been happening now. I would say, well, actually, I'll go through all the family members, right? All the starseeds, and I get a strong feeling they're Sirian, or not sure about Kate. The only starseeds that I can see would be maybe Princess Anne. She has the similar energy to her sister, similar to Elizabeth. Princess Anne, I feel, is also a Sirian starseed. William and Kate are definitely, they're just defo. They are strong Sirian starseed leaders. They're really strong. Possibly Prince George. He's a Cancerian like me, so I get a good feeling from Prince George, although he's a child, and it's maybe too early to tell, because all children look cute, don't they? They look lovely. But if you want to be secure in the knowledge for the future of the royal family, William and Kate are powerful Sirian Starseeds with immaculate, amazing virtues. Now, I'm not a royalist. I didn't even study or read about this, so I don't know much. You could probably shoot everything I'm saying down with lots of, lots of little details, and that's not what I'm concerned. I'm just dealing with the spiritual side of my interpretation of everything that I can feel from them. So William and Kate, definitely starseeds. Anne, possibly, yes. And Prince George, maybe. I think Prince Charles is a well-meaning human, just a regular human soul. There's some dark energy. The only dark energy that there is really possibly in Philip, but I don't know enough. But just when you look at his face, but he's not evil. I just think he said some stupid things like those little darkies and being racist, because that's the culture and the time he comes from. And then is Prince Andrew evil? Is he a reptilian? I feel not. I think he's a very, very immature human soul that's just made some really stupid decisions, and he's just childish and basically an idiot. So Prince Andrew, a bit of an idiot that's made some stupid mistakes, but not evil per se. Prince Philip, he's just a product of his time, also another human. There's only one reptilian in the royal family, and that's Meghan Markle. She is. And now, why would I say that? Is that because I'm being racist because she's half black or whatever? No. That's not the reason. I mean, Meghan Markle is a reptilian through and through. You can see by her behaviour, because what reptilians do is they create discord and they drive a wedge between people, and they try and create as much strife and problems as possible. And that was always Meghan Markle's role. And you could also say some of it is even karmic, because you don't grow if you don't get challenges. So karmic possibly for William and Kate, and how they grow and how they learn to have courage. And definitely a test for Harry. Harry's just another bit of a bumbling idiot, just a nice human who's insecure because he was the youngest son, and also he lost his mother, obviously. So Harry is just a bit of a bumbling human. Pleasant but not very bright. I can feel Mother Mary coming in here and saying, don't be too judgmental, Edward, you don't know what you're talking about, just go a bit soft on Harry. He probably gains some wisdom later on, but he's a human. And Meghan is definitely a reptilian, and she's there to drive a wedge and create a bit of karmic discord for them to have something to work off in terms of courage and a bit of a challenge. So there's lots of others that, you could talk about Tara and other people that I can give an opinion, but I don't want to. It's just going to take too long. So will Charles do a good job? I think, from my opinion about Charles, that if he just spends a lot of time in the palace just signing documents and talking to architects about classical architecture, and spending a lot of time out in his greenhouse talking to his plants, would just be really, really happy. He can still be king, but he's just going to play a very simple backward role. But if they push William and Kate and give them as much encouragement as possible, I think William and Kate are going to be jetting on a plane almost every single day, for the next 2 or 3 months, or even 6 months, just travelling around the world, giving lots of very virtuous, encouraging, beautiful, inspiring talks, because they're powerful, socially capable Sirian Starseeds. So William and Kate are really going to step up, and they're going to do an amazing job. They've got, what have they got, 3 children? Yes, so they're going to be busy. So what's in the future? Well, that's my interpretation of the future. That and the thing about people's memories of the Queen is that there's going to be very, very few people in the future that are going to sincerely think and post stupid photographs of the Queen with one side of her face as a snake or a reptile, and showing her eyes, and they're going to do photoshops where they turn her iris into a into a snake eye. I mean, that's just really stupid. There's going to be lots of idiots out there, and all those people that do that, or rampage on Twitter or fake, Photoshop, the Queen's voice. They're all going to be probably reptilians. Now, I don't know what's going on, but right here, the back of my head, my angels are tickling my hair like crazy. I just have to ask my angels why they're doing that. Are they just doing that to confirm that everything I've said so far is accurate, and just to encourage people that in the future people are going to have? I predict if you're in a printing company, you better start printing paintings or pictures or photographs of the Queen, in her heyday when she was at her peak. If I want to put a picture of the Queen on my wall, and I'll probably put a picture of her when she was maybe in her coronation, maybe the black and white ones when she was in her most beautiful presence. So there's going to be, the printing presses are going to be going like crazy, because people are still, I predict, this is my feeling, is that the Queen as a model to give people guidance and virtues and a moral position, I think she's actually going to be more popular in the future. People are going to be starting to tell lots of beautiful stories. In the war, she studied motor mechanics. She was always in service. It wasn't about her. And then, when she was on Balmoral in Scotland or wherever she was, and the Land Rover broke down, she got out and she rolled her sleeves up and she fixed the engine on her own car, or the car they were using. So in the future, you can guarantee that the Queen's popularity will go up and up and up and up and up, and people will just be more and more sentimental and more appreciative, and tell lots of beautiful stories. And you can guarantee there's going to be books and written, and people are going to jump on the bandwagon and capitalize on that as much as possible. But from a practical standpoint, please do yourself a favour and pray. I'll say a little prayer at the end. Pray for William and Kate, because they're the ones that are going to get super busy. Pray, please, that Harry divorces Meghan as soon as possible. I know they've got children, so I don't want to put my position on that, because, you could say that children need a mother and father, but Meghan was just a big mistake. If there are people out there that love Meghan, I'm sorry, that's not my stance. She's definitely a reptilian. If you keep a reptilian near the royal family, they're going to try and drive a wedge. That's what she's done, and that's what she's set out to do. Now, whether or not you can say she was conscious, she's not conscious. She doesn't know that she's a reptilian, but a reptilian has that in their DNA. It's written in their internal constitution, and that's what Meghan's... And she's always going to do that. So you can guarantee in the next 2 weeks that Meghan's going to come out with some kind of stupid statement, and Harry's going to back it up, and Harry's going to embarrass himself and trip up over his own bib, or whatever you want to call it, and he's going to go flying. So Harry's probably going to go down, although I have to be careful, because I can feel Mother Mary coming in here and saying, don't be too hard. Whenever I judge Harry too harshly, Mother Mary comes in and saying, go soft, don't be too hard on him. And I don't want to predict that too much, but my personal preference is that Harry matures and grows up and listens to his elder brother William, and leaves Meghan. That's just my opinion, and goes back to the royal family and just forgets. I mean, I have no beef with America. I mean, America's a beautiful country. I spent time there myself, and I love Americans. It's not about America. It's just about Meghan per se. Anyway, so enough said. Yeah, okay. To summarise, and I'm trying not to be here for my spiritual ego, but what I've learnt from my 26 years post spiritual enlightenment, post talking to Mother Mary, which I've done every day for 26 years, and also with my spiritual teacher, who's a Palladian Christ, who channels automatic writing, who had stigmata, and also all of my galactic, astral dreams that are very detailed and very complicated and very real. I was the Queen's Sirian guide. I don't know who others are. And I still talk to Mother Mary, and she discussed that with me today when I was down the creek inspecting the ducks and their ducklings, because there's a huge eel, and it was swimming like a leviathan, just like dun, 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 dun. trying to get these baby ducks. And when I saw the baby ducklings about a week ago, I'm sure there was 6 or 7, and now it's down to 3. So the Leviathan eel in the creek is eating ducklings to its heart's content, and I'm like biting my fingernails. So I think I've said enough. If there's any questions, there was a statement here. I better read that, shouldn't I? I better read statements. What does it say? Where is it? Oh, every time I scroll, I can't get. What about the stories of the Queen and Prince Philip visiting children's home in Canada, and then 10 children go missing, plus the stories of the family sacrificing children? Okay, I hear that statement. What I would say is that, as I said earlier, my spiritual teacher, who's a Palladian Christ, who channeled automatic writing, said bad press on the royals or on the Queen is wicked. So a lot of that information, well, I'd say most or if all not, that information has been written or created by a reptilian. That's you can just take it by that. Someone said to me earlier about Prince Andrew and about Jimmy Savile, and I know there's tons and tons of dark stories. And I feel sorry for the Queen that she got embroiled or embattled in all of that, and I think it might have had a part of the reason for the shortening of her lifespan towards the very, very, very end. But it's always timely, and this physical body in this life is not the real life. Up there, when she's transitioning with her Sirian and Palladian entourage or family, she'll be very happy now. I had a friend tell me that she's right now. She also is spiritual. I'm not going to qualify what she does or who she is, but she said that she got a message from the Queen that she's with Cromwell now, and Cromwell has a very interesting history, but I can't confirm yay or not deny any of that. But yeah, all I'm saying is that the Queen will be with her team and her family and her soul group, and obviously with her Queen Mother. And I've had no time to drink my tea. So I'll finish with a quick prayer, and then I'm going to scoff some potatoes and pasta, and then I'm going to zip out the door, and I'm going to help the Red Cross prepare for a book fair, and I'm going to be lifting and humping lots of banana boxes of heavy, heavy books. So I have to get rid of my suit and my tie, and get into a pair of rough khaki pants and boots. So that's what I will do. I'll say a quick prayer. Dear God, please bless me in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Dear God, can we please... I don't necessarily want to pray for the Queen, because I know the Queen's happy and well, so that's fine. Dear God, can we please give some strength and support to all of the members of the royal family right now that may be struggling or confused or needing guidance? I know they probably won't be watching this particular video, and that's not my intention. But dear God, please provide as much support, kindness and love around any grieving, all the children involved, from William and Kate, Harry and Meghan, and all of the others. I know there's lots of them, and please provide loving support around the family at this time, through this time of grief. Please give strength to Charles as he steps into the new role as king, if that's what's destined, and also support William and Kate as they move forward. Ideally, say they're going to be flying around and providing lots of public speaking wherever they travel, and all the activities they get involved in. Please, dear God, keep them strengthened and protected, and healthy and well at all times. For anybody that has put bad press about the Queen and the royals, please, dear God, protect the Queen's image or reputation after her passing, that she is seen in the best possible light, so the people can get the best possible moral modelling and encouragement when they view her as the Queen who has passed. Dear God, all those families or people that are connected to the Queen that are worried or confused or lacking information or guidance, please settle their nerves or their worries and give them assuredness. But most of all, all the people that are watching, please, dear God, I ask that you encourage them and give them a feeling of upliftment, that the Queen has transitioned and she's happy where she is and she's been well taken care of, and any of the schisms or problems that have been created from Meghan or Andrew, or all of these will be ironed over or sweetened out or made easier through this time of trial. And thank you, dear God. Amen. That should do. So, I know it's a bit complicated. I'm going to check the time because she's going to run out the door any moment soon. Yes, I do. I have to run out the door. I have to run out the door. Got no time. No time. No time. All right, bless you all. I know this is quick. Please excuse my lackadaisical voice modality or the way I speak. Sometimes I just get like that. I have different types of moods. I can't predict or model how people might want me to be. This is just me being me. I'm talking quick because I haven't got much time. So don't worry about the Queen. Don't worry about her reputation. Don't worry about the royal family. Everything's in order. They have their guides. They have powerful Sirian and Palladian teams behind them at all times. They don't even need my help. Well, actually, I was a guide to the Queen, so obviously she did. But yeah, I don't even know. I know that I probably support and serve according to Mother Mary. I still support and serve certain members in Eton College. The Eton College teacher or teachers or students have some kind of family connection with me up there in my Sirian team, but I don't know any details. If anybody who's connected wants to ask me questions, they can through Mother Mary. I can do that. I don't expect it, and it's not demanded. And this is a bit hard for a lot of people to appreciate, or I understand that as well. We live in the human world, and it's challenging. Okay, so bless you all. The Queen's passed. I'm not being flippant. I apologise. I have to run. I mean, a lot of people will be grieving. I don't grieve. I mean, it's not just the way I've experienced my spiritual understanding about passing. That's why I am the way I am. Bye for now. Take care. Please be encouraged. I think the future of how people will view the Queen will just steadily increase and get stronger and stronger. Because you look at the Queen Mother and the impact she had during the World Wars. I don't know which one it was. People now view the Queen Mother with much love and affection in their heart, and they'll do exactly the same for the Queen. You'll hear lots of beautiful stories come up out of the woodwork in the future. So bye for now. I have to run, literally. Bye. Bless you all.